Hi, this is Dancing Rabbit.
And Feather!
And welcome to another weekend edition of Pagan Perspective. This week, since it's the anniversary of Pagan Perspective, we have a whole bunch of short, sort of getting to know more about you questions. So, Feather, what's the first question?
Well, what is your name? The one you like to use on YouTube?
Dancing Rabbit.
How would you describe your religious beliefs to our viewers?
First off, I'm a Unitarian Universalist, and if you're not sure what that is, well, Google it. The UUA website has just more information than you could possibly want to read about. I'm also a pagan, I guess sort of a book-taught pagan from sort of a neo-Wiccan perspective, but I'm pretty eclectic.
You are eclectic, yes, I have to agree. How long have you been a part of Pagan Perspective?
I joined Pagan Perspective in August of '09, so that's been 3 years. I think that Cara and I are the only two original hosts that are still left. I mean, things happen, people move, they get busy with other things, and so hosts come and go, but Cara and I are still here.
I'm still on sabbatical. These are childhood questions. Oh boy. What movie can you quote word for word?
I don't think I can quote any movie word for word. There are a lot of books that have been made into movies. I mean, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and so Cider House Rule. So if I'm quoting one of those, I don't know if I'm quoting the movie or the book. So I guess the answer is no.
He can quote everything from Shel Silverstein, though. I'm a witness to that. Well, what cartoon do you still watch?
Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle, and I have you to thank for that.
Yes, I am a big Rocky and Bullwinkle fan.
Now, I still watch South Park and King of the Hill, but I think the question was really cartoons from your childhood that you still watch.
Rocky and Bullwinkle. On DVD. Education. What word do you love the sound of?
Well, there's a lot of words I like to hear, like I love you and we'd like to hire you for this job, but as far as just the sound of a word, I don't think there really is any word that I just really love the sound of. The meaning of, yes, but the sound of, not especially.
Well, this is a funny question to us, because what goals do you have for your education?
I don't have any of what I think this question is getting at. I earned my undergraduate degree in '74 and my master's in '84, and I have no plans to earn any degree beyond that. I would like to become fluent in Spanish. I think that would be very useful living here in South Texas. And I expect that going back into teaching at a really good school for a change, that there will be a lot of in-service, a lot of workshops that I'll be needing to take and be wanting to take so that I can do the very best job possible.
Alright, moving right along to entertainment. What was the last sporting event you went to?
The last sporting event I went to, I think, was a hockey game in Oklahoma City,
many moons
12,
ago.
13 years ago. I've just really never been much for team spectator sports. I've coached basketball a couple of years and was very interested in my team, the Dragons, and in the teams that we were playing. But if I don't know the people that are on the team, I'm really not that interested in team sports.
And he doesn't like to spend the money. Thunder rocks. I'm a Thunder girl. We will be going to a Thunder game this year. Family and home. What was the first thing you learned to cook?
I don't know if I can really remember back that far because I was interested in cooking and helping out with cooked with my mother and grandmother cooking and watching cooking shows probably when I was 5 or 6. The first actual by myself meal I remember was bacon and scrambled eggs, and I cooked it outside on the fire that I built. It was pretty tasty, and I was really surprised that I actually did it, that it actually turned out okay. But yeah, I think that's probably the first meal. I may have been, I don't know, 8 or 9 at the time.
He's still cooking also. What room in the house do you most like spending time in? I know.
That would be the computer and the altar room, I guess. But, you know, it's not like I just have this favorite room that's really, really special. But I probably spend more time there than anywhere else.
I'm not going to go on that. Geography. Ooh, where is the furthest you've ever traveled?
That would be Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City. I think it's probably about 5 years ago. I worked for a really unusual little private school, and every year they had an international field trip for the whole school. And I planned and went on and Feather and our 2 sons went along as sort of chaperones. We spent, what was it, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks?
Yes.
Very warm, very hard weeks, touring Vietnam from the south in Saigon where we landed. We went a little further south into the Mekong Delta and then headed north along Highway 1, which really is the only highway that goes north. There aren't any other ones. As far as Hanoi, and then flew out from there. I felt like we would absolutely never get there. The flight seemed to take forever.
Well, what was the prettiest city you've ever been to?
That probably would have been one of the cities we visited in Transylvania on the church choir trip. And I'm not sure, I'd have to go back and look at my travel diary and maybe some of the pictures.
Somewhere in Romania.
And Mars-Vache was really pretty, but we went in the spring and there were lots of flowers. Everybody had flowers in their window boxes. The streets were incredibly clean, and one morning I found out why. I got up really early and walked down the street from the hotel for some coffee, and there were street sweepers out. And these were people with brooms that looked like they were made out of small bushes tied together, kind of classic witch brooms, and a horse-drawn wagon, and they were sweeping the streets and cleaning up, and I guess they did that every morning early.
And you still sweep every morning, and I do
But
too.
not the streets.
No, not the streets. Health and food. What is your ideal comfort food?
Macaroni and cheese. And there's a little restaurant down the street from where we live that basically only serves macaroni and cheese.
Just Mac.
And something like 30 different varieties. And I usually get the All-American, which is just pretty much plain macaroni and cheese.
He's not a real edgy eater. If you could have a drink with someone from history, who would it be?
Well, I thought a long time about this question, because I've had the questions for a couple of weeks now. I guess Benjamin Franklin. He's kind of a early American Renaissance man. And there's all sorts of totally different things, politics, religion, science, that we could maybe talk about.
What in today's society do you think should be free, but is not?
Well, there's really nothing that's free. I mean, if it's free to you or to us, to average people, it's usually not totally free. I mean, somebody pays for it. But if there were something that I feel like should be at basically no charge to the general public, I think that would be health care. The United States is, as far as I know, the only developed country in the world that doesn't have some form of universal health care. And it seems to work quite well in the UK and in Canada, and it worked quite well when we were in Vietnam, though I wouldn't trade their climate or their politics for what we have, but I think healthcare should be free.
Other than your own religion, which religions do you find interesting and why?
I think Buddhism is interesting. I have some belief differences, doctrinal differences with the Buddhists, but it seems to be a very peaceful and very accepting religion, and it's something that even if I didn't become a Buddhist, I'd like to know more about. There's a Krishna temple not too far from here, and although the Krishnas and I disagree on practically everything spiritual, from what you should eat to be spiritual to the whole nature of the universe and reality and the Godhead and all that, I think it's a very interesting religion, and from time to time I drop in down there and eat lunch with them or participate in some of their chanting or dancing.
Have you ever been mentioned in a newspaper?
Yes, now that you ask, yes I have. When I was in high school, I was the sports correspondent for the local weekly, so I got mentioned, well, at least my byline got mentioned every week. When we moved from Arkansas, the local newspaper was, I guess, kind enough or nice enough to do a multi-page spread on my work with the Scouts. And even though the article was more about the local and area scouting, since I was the district executive, I was sort of the star of the article. I've also been mentioned once in the Unitarian Universalist World for a brief speech I gave at General Assembly a few years ago on the importance of continuing to include paganism in our principles and sources.
I was so proud of him. And he's been mentioned quite a few other times, but I have a better memory. I'm the paper keeper. Technology. Oh dear. What single piece of technology makes your life easier?
Well, it's asking what makes life easier, not what is the most fun and entertaining. I think probably cell phones. There are things I don't like about a cell phone. Back sort of pre-cell phone, or when there were huge areas you didn't have cell phone coverage, I had to carry a pager, and I really didn't like it. It was like wearing a leash or something, or a string around my neck, that every time anybody randomly thought they wanted to get my attention, they could just pull it, and I was supposed to come running. And I think cell phones can be like that, but it has definitely made life easier, and once I finally learned to text, texting is just so much more convenient even than making a call. The times that my batteries have run down or I've forgotten my cell phone, it can be really, really difficult to go back and try to find a telephone when you need to make a call, and if you break down the road somewhere, then you've just got to hope somebody with a cell phone stops and helps you out. So I think cell phones.
Would you be willing to live off the grid?
I think it might be interesting for a while. It might be a good thing to do, maybe like to take a week break from being on the grid, especially if you went somewhere. But yeah, if I had to, I guess I would, but I don't think it's necessarily would make me a better or more spiritual person because I didn't watch TV, didn't use cell phones, and didn't use the computer, and perhaps didn't read newspapers. I don't think that I would be a better person. And it might be a good thing to do for a while.
I could do it. Work. If you did not need the money, what would you do for work?
Well, I really enjoy teaching, but I'm not so sure that I would put in all of the hard work and the long hours if I didn't need the money. You know, I wouldn't want to be some kind of a hobby teacher who just did it when they felt like it, or, you know, would say, well, I'm not going to stay up and grade these papers because I don't really need this job. I don't know that I would continue public school teaching if I didn't need the money. I probably would continue writing, but then, you know, I've never really made any money to speak of writing, and really don't expect to, but I think I've continued doing that, and that is work.
He does like to garden. What daily activity bores you?
I guess this was maybe aimed at household activities, that sort of chores or something like that, and really none of those things are particularly boring to me. In fact, I enjoy doing some of that sort of stuff. I guess the daily activity that I least liked was commuting. The job I had previously, I had about a 45-minute to 2.5-hour commute there and then back again every day, and it really depended on traffic and construction and accidents on the highway. That I really disliked. It was really boring and really energy draining to have to sit in traffic for a half hour longer than I thought I was going to have to. And this year I wanted to do that. I can bicycle to work, or it's about a half hour on city street commute.
He loves to mop floors, and I'm so blessed that he does, because he mops so much better than me. If I answered this question, it'd be completely opposite of his.
I learned to mop floors working the late night shift at a convenience store.
And he still mops and empties the trash, and I love him for it, because those are the ones that bore me.
Okay.
All right, grab bag questions.
Okay.
I could slip one into my very own, but I won't. Do you prefer sunrises or sunsets, and why?
I'm not sure that I really have a preference. The sunsets are usually prettier or more spectacular because you've got some moisture in the air and clouds and all. And sunrises are usually kind of pastel and a little less showy. I don't know, I guess maybe sunsets, because they're certainly easier to watch. You don't have to get up early in the morning. But the mornings, the previous 2 years when I had to get up really early to avoid the morning rush hour, I would often get to see sunrise as I was driving to work. And it is a kind of quiet, peaceful time of the day. So I think both of them have their advantages. So I don't guess I really prefer one or the other.
Well, it's the balance. I mean, it's hard to compare. That's one of those are the kind of questions I don't like. But anyway, grab bag. We just asked that question. Brett Hart, if you could have one superpower, what would that be?
I think I would like to fly. You know, kind of like, I don't know, kind of like Superman. I mean, flying like Spider-Man. It's not really flying, it's swinging on the webs. That would be almost good enough, or even to be able to sort of glide fly like the Dark Knight, like Batman. But I think flying, most of the other superpowers, telepathy or X-ray vision or something, you could use that to pry into someone else's life. The power of super strength and that sort of thing, it would be nice, but you could use those to dominate somebody else, or get something that you wanted that maybe you didn't have a right to. But I think flying would be kind of, it would be fun, and it would be a neutral kind of a superpower. But mostly it would be fun. So it's...
Ooh, not me. Lightning bolt, fireball. I'd like to just get some people to wake up through pain, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are all the questions from Dancing Rabbit.
Okay, well, next week is sub-week, and I think they're going to be dealing with the same set of questions. The week after that will be the real sub-week, and so I won't see you until sometime in early September. So, Dancing Rabbit and...
Feather!
Bye. Peace.